No schools, no parenting books, no pediatricians. So how did a species with almost no instructions manage to raise its children for over 1 million years and somehow get it right often enough that we're all still here? Human babies are some of the most helpless newborns on Earth. A baby zebra can walk within minutes of being born. A baby elephant can follow its mother within hours, but a human baby can't even hold up its own head. Scientists think this is because our brains are so big that if we stayed in the womb any longer, we simply wouldn't fit through the birth canal. So evolution made a strange trade. Humans are born too early, with almost the entire first year of life essentially finishing outside the womb. Some researchers even call this the fourth trimester, a stretch of time where a baby is technically alive in the world, but developmentally still finishing what should have happened inside. That helplessness meant early humans couldn't just leave a baby propped up somewhere while they worked. Someone had to be holding that child almost constantly, and this is where the phrase, "it takes a village," actually comes from. Early humans didn't raise kids in isolated family units the way a lot of us do today. Babies were passed between mothers, aunts, grandmothers, and older siblings constantly, sometimes dozens of times a day. Anthropologists call this cooperative breeding, and it's actually rare among mammals. A mother might be out gathering food while 3 or 4 other women take turns holding, feeding, or watching her child. This shared responsibility meant kids always had multiple adults emotionally and physically invested in keeping them alive. Not just one exhausted parent. There was no formal teaching either, no sitting children down at a desk. Children learned survival skills the same way they learned to walk, by watching and copying over and over until it became instinct. A 4-year-old would watch their mother dig for roots and try clumsily to copy her. A 7-year-old would sit beside their father sharpening a spear, even if all they were allowed to do was hand him stones. By the time a child was 10 or 12 years old, they weren't playing at being an adult anymore. They were doing real, necessary work that the group depended on. In many hunter-gatherer societies studied today, children as young as 6 are already contributing calories back to the group through foraging. And even play wasn't really just play. Kids wrestling with each other wasn't roughhousing for fun, it was practice for real physical conflict they might face later. Throwing rocks at a target wasn't just a game, it was hunting practice, disguised as fun so children would want to do it. Building tiny shelters out of sticks wasn't just imagination, it was rehearsal. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, like the Hadza in Tanzania, have found that almost every single childhood game doubles as practice for an adult survival skill. Play, in other words, was the original training program. And it worked because no one had to force it. Discipline looked completely different, too. There was little to no physical punishment in many early human groups. And this wasn't out of gentleness, it was pure practicality. A child who was afraid of their parents was a child who might hide when they got hurt or not admit when they'd done something dangerous. Fear breaks communication, and communication was survival. Instead, discipline often came through mild shame, teasing from the group, or simply natural consequences. Touch a nettle once, and you learn instantly not to touch it again. Wander too far from the fire once and get scared by the dark, and you stay close next time. The world itself was often the strictest teacher. But here's the harder truth behind all of this. Child mortality was absolutely brutal. Some estimates suggest that nearly half of all children born didn't survive to adulthood. Disease swept through with no medicine to stop it. Starvation came in bad seasons. Predators, accidents, infections from a simple cut. There was no hospital waiting to catch what nature didn't. Parents loved their children fiercely, in ways that would look completely familiar to us today, but they also carried a level of loss that's almost unimaginable now. Many early human cultures developed grief rituals and beliefs about an afterlife specifically because death, especially child death, was such a constant presence in daily life. And yet, somehow, it worked well enough that our species didn't just survive, it thrived. Constant physical closeness, multiple attached caregivers instead of one overwhelmed parent, real-world learning instead of lectures nobody remembers, free, unstructured, purposeful play instead of screens. Modern psychologists studying attachment theory keep landing back on the exact same conclusion. In many ways, ancient parenting practices built exactly the kind of secure, connected childhood that modern parents are now desperately trying to recreate with books, therapists, and parenting apps. So the next time you hear that kids need more screen time limits or that parents need better systems or that modern parenting is somehow uniquely hard, remember this. Humans figured out how to raise perfectly functional, resilient adults for over 300,000 years with nothing but a fire, a circle of caring adults, real work to do, and a lot of trust. No manuals required.